Republicans come together on a single bill to renew FISA?
I think we can. I think there's been some negotiations between judiciary and the intelligence community on trying to heal some of the differences. I think there'll still be some folks on either side that may not like it. But you know what, when you pass something, when you have both sides don't like it a little bit, maybe it's the right spot in the middle. We have to protect our country from those who are nefarious, that would do things to this country. But we also have an obligation for the Fourth Amendment to protect our nation's rights and citizens' rights.
Well, on the subject of protecting the country, proponents of Ukraine aid say that essentially by supporting Ukraine, you are also acting in the interest of the United States to make sure that American troops never have to go on the ground should Russia, if they can be victorious in Ukraine, move toward a NATO ally. And yet, still very unclear what, if any, is the path forward for Ukraine aid in your body. What form do you expect it to take? What form would it need to be in to secure your vote?
Well, I think personally, and point blank, I think we need to support Ukraine. My opinion, Ukraine never needed to happen, and it was a result of what we did in Afghanistan. But here we are with the crisis, and it's where East meets West. You've seen now Russia and China agreeing and working, cooperating on unprecedented levels. And while we're fighting essentially a proxy war with Russia, we're also doing it with China. And now the axis of evil, as President Reagan said, are aligning very, very much. We have to show strong support for democracies, and we have to do that with Ukraine.
Is the Speaker going to get fired if he goes through with this? You don't need me to tell you about the motion to vacate. You've already lived through this experience. And some folks say, you know what, Republicans don't have the stomach to go through it again. It's not even a real threat, that the gentlewoman from Georgia is, in fact, just raising money on this.
No, I think it's a real, I'm sorry, Joe, I do think it's a real threat. But sadly enough, when, Matt Gaetz had his personal issue with Speaker McCarthy, he brought down a great part of what happened with the Republican Party. We don't need this nonsense. We don't need rogues. We don't need individuals screaming on the House floor that Republicans aren't doing enough. We need folks that actually think not just one step ahead, not two, but 3 and 4 steps ahead. What's the best way we can get most of Republican priorities put forth? You don't get everything 100% in this world. Some folks just need to realize that you can't get everything with one big bite. We don't have supermajorities in the House, Senate, and the White House. We need to do what we can, when we can, and that time is right now.
Well, you allude to the former speaker, former member, frankly, Kevin McCarthy. There were 8 Republicans who joined Democrats in voting to oust him. Right now, the only real vocal Republican on this issue is Marjorie Taylor Greene. And Congressman Lucas, who we just heard from, said he is only aware of that one. Do you think the votes would even be there if she moves forward with this?
Well, again, we're in a very slim majority right now. I think I forget the numbers are 2s right now. But also, I think Democrats are tired of this nonsense, too. I think the whole body...
So you expect them to step up to protect it?
Well, I don't know that would happen, but I think the whole body is tired of this nonsense. I'm tired of showboats in Congress that see this as their platform for personality. I think we're here elected by the people to do the work of the people. Yeah, we're going to have our disagreements. But you know what? I came here. I got 1 vote. They have 1 vote, too. It doesn't mean they need to take down the majority in doing so.
You can see how fed up you are.
Absolutely, to the teeth. And it takes a lot. I'm a surgeon. I have a patience that I've learned through the years, but now I'm just kind of...
Doesn't mean you're not keeping a steady hand. Kayleigh mentioned Ukraine.
Yeah.
Is this going to come to the floor attached to Israel and Taiwan, as we saw in the Senate, or is this a one-by-one approach? We spoke again with Congressman Lucas earlier. He said they should even put the Baltimore Bridge funding on this, put it all together and up for a vote. What do you think?
I don't know if that's a smart approach. I'm not the speaker, and I wouldn't dare speak for him. But I think putting things separately, we absolutely have to support Israel. Absolutely have to support Israel. They have the right to exist. Hamas butchered people that I know, that I met over just a year ago. They need to be absolutely eliminated. Whether we need to do this piecemeal, I think that's probably a more executable approach, but that's really up to the Speaker.
So you would, I would venture to guess, not be supportive of conditions being attached to further aid for Israel?
I don't. I have full faith in the Israeli government to root out evil. They have an absolute right to exist. And the fact that Hamas and Iran has said, no, we're going to absolutely, our goal is to dismiss their legitimacy. I think we need to give them all the arms and all the support that they need. Going back to Ukraine, 90% of the Ukraine aid we're talking about goes back to our own coffers, our own military. And folks need to realize this. If they have a fundamental issue with Ukraine itself, well, one, that's their opinion. But 2, we need to reinforce our own supplies. My God, this is our nation's security that we're talking about.
You remind us that you're a surgeon, you're a medical doctor. We started our hour here with a conversation about this abortion ruling today in Arizona. There are very deep personal feelings, often tied to religious beliefs that have to do with this. How concerned are you that this is an anchor on Republicans when they try to keep the House in November?
Well, this was done when Roe v. Wade was overturned and sent back to the states, which is absolutely what should have happened. This was something that was in the Constitution as a state issue. This is certain states that are acting. You know, I think our Democratic operatives are going to take advantage of this and push the emotions highly, if not the most emotional issue, as a nationwide issue. But, you know, this is done in silos. This is done by one particular state. I think Arizona, you know, what they did in the Supreme Court was something isolated. I don't see other folks doing this. But that's where it should be. It's in the states.